is Victoria Pruden, and I wanted to share a story with you about my great-grandmother, Sarah Jane DeLorme. I'm going to sort of get to this story in a little bit of a roundabout way. We know a lot of Métis people in our communities that for whatever reason, and even over generations, sometimes we get separated from the truth of who we are as Métis people, and sometimes as Aboriginal people. And we had an experience at our elders conference last year where we had a number of elders that were practicing traditional medicine and also speaking Cree language and speaking Michif language. And in the Métis world, historically, there's been a continuum and a diversity of people's experiences. And we had a healing circle with our elders, and one of the elders came into the healing circle and brought up some issues that what was happening was too indigenous, or it was too Cree, it was too Indian, and it wasn't who we are as Métis people. And when I was growing up, and like just a kid and everything like that, we used a lot different language than is my experience today. Like people still call themselves Indians and half-breeds, and that was just the way it was. And I wasn't really familiar with Michif language because my family was a Cree-speaking family, and that's all I ever heard, was our language, was Cree language, right? And so when this experience happened at the Elders Conference, it was really profound for me. And I thought, I had to do a lot of self-reflection, and I was thinking, it was like a really wounding thing, I think, for a lot of us when people, whether it's in our community or outside of our community, when they attack who we are and our self-concept and the stories and the ideology that we have about our family and our memories. And when that gets attacked, I think it wounds us really deeply. And so I was doing lots of reflecting about this. And, I had this kind of strange experience where I was out with my family and I was talking to my dad about what happened. And my dad, he doesn't tell a lot of stories about our family to me anymore, not so much anymore. He's busy thinking about other things. And he got this kind of funny look on his face, and then he told me this beautiful story about my great-grandmother and how one of his earliest memories is my great-grandmother on my grandpa's side, and my grandma, who was Bernadette Landry, took my dad and the other kids and everything like that. They went to a Sundance ceremony, and at that time, that would have been the early 1940s, and Sundances were still illegal at that time. And so he was telling me about all the colors and the flags and going to the ceremony, and then not understanding, why the little kids were kind of kept away. And his memory now as a 70-year-old man was that, we must have been bad, or we weren't Indian enough to find out what was going on. And we know now, and I know now from talking to other elders, that they would take the children away at a certain point because what was happening was illegal. And if there was anything happening, that they could get in trouble for, get reported to an Indian agent for, people could get arrested, so they take the children away. So to me, that was a really profound experience, and I can't help but feel like my great-grandmother was there with us in some way and twigged my dad into that memory to tell me that this was something that our family did, and this was the language that they spoke, this was who they were as a people. And it was just such a powerful moment for me to have that gift of that. And I think from that moment on, it really strengthened a lot of my resolve to say, the traditions in our families of being Métis are not all the same, and they're diverse. And I really get excited about speaking Cree language, and I get really excited about reclaiming traditions that my great-grandmother and my grandmother knew. And it really provoked me to find out more after that experience, I went up island and I visited my granduncle, and we had a long talk about his mom, who's my great-grandmother, Sarah Jane Delorme. And he told me stories like about her medicine bag. She had a huge medicine bag made out of a white buffalo hide, where the fur, soft fur, was on the inside. This great big long medicine bag. And that was what she would use for her doctoring and everything. And he told me stories about the Sundance, and he told me stories about what he knew about the traditions. And I just think it's such an important experience for us to have, to share, and to go to our elders and talk to them and learn about the truth about who we are. Being Métis is so much more than a one-dimensional thing, you know. And I love the fiddle, and I love the sash. I also love our language, and I love the stories of our women, and I love learning from our elders. And I think it's really important for us to promote the whole richness of who we are as Métis people, and really make sure that we tell these stories to other people, and also stand up and say, you know what, you know, you have your family's experience, and I have my family's experience, and I'm really going to hold to that truth, and it's really important to me. So that's why I wanted to share that story. I think every once in a while our grandmothers are there with us, and they give us that little boost that we need to kind of show us that we're on the right track, and that, you know, reclaiming who we are and speaking our language and all those things are really a good thing.